The baddies do an after-action report.
Why is he naked?
Oh buddy, you're in the wrong series to worry about that. It's a normal, ordinary, boring day in Japan. Until... Oh no, it's happening again! This handsome fella has a few things he'd like to discuss. Our protagonist decides...
Guess I'll go.
May as well, right? Might be a laugh. So who is he? This is Saitama.
Just a guy who's a hero for fun.
Much like one of my favorite people in all the world, Carl Pilkington, he has a perfectly round, bald head, like a fucking orange, and he's right out of fucks to give. This guy, on the other hand, is some kind of Captain Planet baddie, coalesced from pollution and shit. He does his big villain speech, at least until Saitama gets bored and hits the renegade interrupt.
And killed him in one hit.
He's done as all hell, with always wrecking ass so easily. Ever since he got into this whole hero business, by saving a young Peter Griffin here from a giant crab guy. Damn.
Alright, you got a lot of guts, Oscar.
All it's ever taken is one half-assed punch. He trained so hard, he got the old chrome dome.
I might not be bald, I've just got very fine hair.
Grew so powerful, he became unstoppable. And it all got dull as hell. Even when we find ourselves suddenly in Attack on Titan, it's all wrapped up in short order. Plenty of collateral damage, mind.
Whoops.
But in between all the earthquakes and typhoons and Godzilla attacks and giant robot battles and so on, that's just a normal Tuesday in Japan.
Having overwhelming strength is pretty boring, actually.
But at least Cars 3 is taking a new, more avant-garde direction. Saitama feels ever more distant and numb. Hey, he's walking here! Really, this hero stuff is all just a hobby to him. The rest of the time, he's enjoying the neat life. While sleeping in, the ghost of Margaret Thatcher intervenes. Get out of bed and find a job, you lazy bastard. This mole man fella lives in the middle of the hollow earth, as described by esteemed scientist Jules Verne. And he and his bros want to rule the outer surface too. They put up a hell of a fight. Saitama is really pushed, all the way to his limits. It's glorious! A mighty feast for the blood god, worthy skulls for the skull throne, and a kick-ass boss fight. Let's fucking go! Oh, it was all a dream. The real mole men are slightly less impressive. Okay, so let's get our thinking caps on for a moment. How do we overcome a guy who can wipe anyone out in one hit? Easy, by having lots and lots of minions, even if they're really weak. Far too many for him to hit, in fact. For instance, a big cloud of deadly skeeters. And what do you know? That's today's weather. Damn, Japan, you scary. Saitama soon develops what's known as a Scottish sunburn. In that godforsaken land where the light of the sun never quite reaches, you can still step outdoors and go bright red all over by slapping away at all the blood-sucking insects that want a piece of you. But what would be a perfect hard counter for a murderous mosquito swarm? Why, a dude made of metal, of course. This guy gives in to the intrusive thought we've all had. While everyone's freaking out evacuating, why not liberate some stuff? The swarm gets him, and sucks him dry till he turns to dust. Now he knows how I feel after I visit your mum's house. Well, shit. Guess I have a new fetish now. How else might you overcome an army of annoying bugs?
A little fire'll show 'em who's boss.
They clash again, and this time it costs them an arm and a leg. Drop me a comment, by the way, if you'd like me to take a punt at Full Metal Alchemist, or anything else. She powers up off the surrounding wildlife.
Empty all the delicious juices you carry into me!
God damn it. Saitama's savage struggle with his single skeeter spills into the streets. The rest of the swarm goes for him. Rookie mistake. It's just put them all in one easily burnable place. But that attack may also have burned other things. It's too late. She's already gone Super Saiyan. Only one option left now. A noble sacrifice, taking her out with a tactical self-destruct. Or that, I suppose. Holy shitballs, says the Metal Man. I must be your sidekick.
Sure.
Robo-Lad's name is Genos. He's got a backstory. Evil cyborgs, vengeance, getting rebuilt.
We have the technology.
Saitama has about a tweet's worth of attention span. He demands the TLDR. The baddies do an after-action report.
Why is he naked?
Oh buddy, you're in the wrong series to worry about that. Regardless, they send another squad of goons. It includes their top operatives. Winston, a furry, and a second kind of mole person. Saitama generously gives them a chance to say sorry for breaking his shit and being smug douchebags. The furry uses attacks with cool names
Out of my way, pissants!
to reduce neighborhood property values. Saitama hits back with
Consecutive normal punches.
their water might be out for a bit. Winston's hard ape act cracks, and he spills the beans.
Wait, what happened to your high-tech robot voice?
Sorry about that, I was just trying to sound cool.
They're with the House of Evolution, led by this mad scientist fella, who, consumed with bitterness at the low status and self-referential nature of a career in academia, wants to do a little artificial evolution on the human species. Saitama demands the TLDR.
What's this got to do with me? You're just trying to sound cool again.
He's become fascinated with Saitama in particular.
Too bad. I'm not interested in dudes.
Back at the House of Evolution, they know what's coming, so they activate all the traps across all the floors. Genos has a fairly direct solution though.
Looks like it's about 8 stories high. That seemed a little rash, don't you think?
Hey, if it's dumb but it works, it ain't dumb. Well, may as well have a poke around the science sub-basement. Maybe there's a cool science bomb to steal. My good pal Carnage Kabuto is down there. He gets assigned his mission.
Only you can defeat him.
After the usual pleasantries, Carnage Kabuto invites Saitama into his holodeck.
You just turned Genos into a piece of bad modern art.
And I hate modern art. Genos unpostmoderns himself and takes his shot. But, like every other holodeck episode, this blows. My boy chats a lot of shit and lines himself up against Saitama. And chickens out. He can feel it.
How in the hell did you get that strong?
Saitama lays it out. He ate his vegetables and did his exercise.
Do it every single day!
All fucking shit, says Genos. I must be getting trolled, thinks Kabuto. Best react appropriately by getting super mad. When he gets like this, he can't stop kicking ass for a whole week. Saitama realizes he may have fucked up. While he's been pissing about here, he's missed out on this week's bargains at Japanese Lidl. He's devastated, but maybe there's still time if they're out of here real quick. So, has anyone learned anything from this whole sorry business? Of course not. My good pal Hammerhead here makes the great point that work sucks shit, and he and his bros don't want to do it anymore. Now, they're not opposed to asking nicely, but if their reasonable suggestions aren't met, well, they have Space Marine power armor, and their opponents do not. They wreck some stuff and get on TV. Saitama is happy enough to let them get on with it, until he sees they're stealing his bit.
No! They will pay!
They make their move on this fairly thinly veiled piss take of Donald Trump. This being Japan though, Trump's bodyguard is a fucking ninja. Don't worry boss, he says. I've read The Art of the Deal. I got this. He lays his cunning trap, which they walk right into. If you ever wondered why the normal ranks of the Space Marines always wear helmets, but their commanders don't, well, now you know. Why yes, I am an Orcs player. How could you tell?
Sod off!
Hammerhead thinks he's being both brutal and cunning. Can't dodge if you don't leave him any room to dodge.
Gotcha!
Somehow, death finds a way. At least he can retreat and come back for another go later. The perks of having an uncommonly thick skull. I feel ya, bro. The real pro gamer move, by the way, is to have a skull that's on the outside. Hammerhead runs into Saitama. He tries a standard ass kicking. No dice. So he powers up for an ultra ass kicking, using a move I like to call the double Don Quixote. But this angers his armor's machine spirit, which decides it doesn't want to work anymore, because work sucks shit.
Don't be bad anymore, okay?
You got it, boss. The ninja soon finds Saitama and mistakes him for one of Hammerhead's boys.
I'm not a
Never
villain!
heard of you.
Oof. Wounding. Nonetheless, the ninja is far too full of himself to allow someone to block his attacks twice in a row and live. Now, there's a reason I brought this in particular up earlier. Because, you see, Saitama's gonna raise his fist, and if this ninja guy happens to get in its way, that's his fault. Oh yeah, by the way, this guy finally tells us his name, and I hope you're ready, because it's the most cringe name of any character ever.
Speed of Sound Sonic, the ultimate ninja!
Whatever. He'll be picking this up later, once he gets his breath back. Part of this whole business really ended up getting to Saitama.
No one knows who I am.
After being fixed up by his other mentor, who has the most savage bowl cut the world has ever seen, Genos suggests they sign up with the Hero Association via their painfully Web 1.0 website and start actually getting paid for all this stuff that's beginning to feel a lot like work. So they turn up at the most evil-looking building in town. No, the other one. And do a bit of PE. Saitama knocks it out of the park on every test they give him. Genos cruises to the top of the class. But there was a written section too, which Saitama only just scraped through. Plus the bonus round. Did you do this? Yes. Still, a pass is a... Wait, what the hell is this? So where did this most august institution come from anyway? Well, a few years ago, a millionaire's kid got saved from some sort of crab monster. So he decided to become a superhero sugar daddy. Genos is curious. Just how hard can Saitama go exactly? To find out, they head to the quarry outside Vancouver, where every Netflix serial is filmed. He really goes ham. I mean, he lets it all hang out.
It looks like I win.
Stop pissing about, says Genos. Fight me!
Stop trying to hit me and hit me!
Saitama pulls a feint and says fuck it, it's lunchtime. How am I ever gonna stack up to this, wonders Genos. Look bro, at least your hair's better. Saitama challenges him to an eating contest. Mano a fudo. Turns out his appetite is better as well. Not bad for a robot. The top-ranked, hottest hero drops by to give Genos a quick pep talk and a welcome aboard. His fan club is in attendance. Saitama reflects that the top-class, media-friendly heroes enjoy starkly better treatment than the low-class scrubbers like himself. Hey, I know someone with a few things to say about different classes. Genos asks Saitama if he would like to get moved in with.
No way. Absolutely not.
Well, when you put it like that, a few days of slacking off later, Saitama learns peasants like him have a weekly quota of heroing. Like every fighty dickhead you meet on a night out, they have to go looking for trouble, or no one will respect them. Genos asks if he can come. Saitama says no, he's already topped out physically, so he should instead develop his Sigma grind set. Plus, he wants the cred. He spends a whole day tearing ass around town. No dice. The next day, trouble goes looking for him. Look, he ain't got time for this shit. So Sonic decides to force the issue.
Tale of Carnage!
On reflection, this probably qualifies as billable hours by now. So to hell with it, let's rock! The nerds in the Batcave are starting to pick up on all this stuff happening in Saitama's neck of the woods. Including Tornado here. She's kind of a bitch.
You guys are idiots.
2 lower-ranked heroes have been assigned to investigate, but she'll decide what to look into for herself, thank you very much. Wait. What the fuck is this? What's going on with the color scale on these graphs? Why is it not consistent up and down the y-axis? What could it possibly mean? And what's with all the grid lines? This poor graph has taken a savage mauling from the ugly stick. It takes more work to produce something this fugly using modern graphing tools than it does to do it properly. Fucking amateur hour in here. Okay. Deep breaths. Moving on. Deployed to investigate are Hercule Poirot and Marshall Mathers. When they reach Saitama's house, they run into some kind of seaweed guy. On the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but Eminem's knees are weak and his arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Seaweed spaghetti. I don't actually know anything about Poirot though, so I have to hold off on the wisecracks and assume Agatha Christie novels are basically this.
Tomboy.
Gotcha! It was Seaweed Monster, in the alley with the tentacles. Saitama runs into the Seaweed Monster and acquires one of his 5 a day. With all this stuff going off in the neighborhood, people are moving out.
Holy crap, what happened out here?
And who can blame them? I've seen literal war zones more intact than this. Worse, monsters are getting wind of a good scrap and moving in. The place is becoming a ghost town. But Saitama's rank is up a bit, so who's to say if it's good or bad? Asteroid 99942 Apophis is paying a visit. This will end up being a job for Genos, and because he's the FNG, this old git will be tagging along too. Silver Fang. More like Silver Fox, am I right? Genos decides it's time to exercise his right to bear arms. By the way, I love this sort of shot. So intense. This Metal Knight fella wants a pop at it first though. But his DPS doesn't cut it. With time a-wasting, Genos decides to get drastic.
I think I see the meteor being pushed back. Really? Nope, it was just my imagination.
While that was fucking rad, it wasn't enough either. It's cool though, Saitama's got this. He blasts it into a million much smaller rocks, which are still, you know, kinda coming down everywhere. Good enough for government work. These guys are mad. Mad that Saitama wrecked their city. And I mean they're not entirely unjustified. They hype up the crowd and get ready to rumble!
I give up, I'm sorry!
Saitama heads home to chill the fuck out. Genos lets him know that no matter what the public thinks, he'll always have at least one brochacho. My good pal Cthulhu wakes up from a long nap and takes a nice stroll on the land. The stars are right. The children of Dagon rise from the dark corners of the earth to make us free and wild, to teach us new ways to shout and kill and revel in joy. Genos packs his shit and hits the bricks, as does this guy, Moomin Rider. Even if all the other heroes are all noping out of there. He calls them wet, sopping vaginas and resumes his advance. And as we'll see, the vagina has no place in this episode. This speedy fella, who's legally distinct from the Flash, gets owned, but my main man, Puri Puri Prisoner, steps in to save his sweet ass. Oh yeah, and Sonic has done a jailbreak too. He's deeply upset that this motherfucker has ruined his pretty boys and will be powering up and paying it back. Oh shit, he didn't get an expanding sweater. They rearrange each other's faces a bit until Puri Puri Prisoner realizes he's getting whooped and goes full Sailor Moon. Never go full Sailor Moon. See what I tell ya? Before he takes his go, Sonic asks who this slippery bastard is. Why, he's the king of the ocean, of course. Instead of being a big handsome beefcake, Sonic relies on being fast. And for a while, it works pretty good. But soon, British summer sets in, and the king starts feeling a little more at home. So Sonic decides to leave it for another day, and fucks off.
It's not safe to get into a car with strangers.
The Sea King comes knocking at the civilian shelter. One scrub-tier hero faces his fear and tries to buy just a little more time.
Heroes rock!
They get a little, but not much. Genos takes his shot, and only pisses him off. The king hocks up a big grolly at the land-dwelling plebs, and Genos takes one for the team. While he enjoys a well-earned and pleasantly phlegm-free gloat, Moomin Rider busts out his superpower. He has a bike, and also the world's most gigantic pair of bollocks. Seems like an inconvenient combination, but clearly it works for him. The crowd hypes him up, and he gets insta-wrecked.
Nice fight, man. Should be proud of yourself.
Alright, time for Saitama to tag in.
And killed him in one hit.
Well, that was lame. Kinda had my hopes up, too.
The crowd is kinda skeptical. Some slaphead punk nobody's ever heard of took down this big scary monster with one punch. Well, maybe he wasn't so big and tough after all. Saitama crack pings just a little, and tells them that yeah, the other guys must have worn the monster right down, and made it easy for him. Back home, they get some fan mail. Saitama's looks pretty intense.
Here's a guy with free time.
He's also got some from the Hero Association.
What? Really? Are they firing me?
No, he's getting promoted. On the way back, he runs into Moomin Rider, and after an episode so delightfully fruity, it makes JoJo's Bizarre Adventure seem positively Catholic. They enjoy a moment of a much more grounded kind of bromance. Having just learned what the crude oil we base our economy on is made from, the dinosaurs rise again to exact their revenge. Strategic Air Command responds, and they won't be dropping anything as merciful as bombs. Just a sec, Tornado's got another call. Do you mind?
To destroy me! A giant meteor is about the only thing that's strong enough!
I got some real bad news for you on that front, my scaly friend. All the bros and Tornado
Stop ignoring me!
are getting together. So what's the deal? Their psychic seer, Mystic Meg, is a goner. Choked on a cough sweet. Bet she didn't see that coming. But as she wheezed her last, she managed to write this. At some point in the next 6 months, shit will be going down. Technically, in the next 10 seconds, falls within that, I suppose. Oh shit, it's Magnus the Red, and his sons. We only see 4. Presumably the rest are just off screen. But before he can do anything wrong, he's instantly upstaged. Fucking aliens! And they mean business! Well, that's the city annihilated. That's some great hero in there, guys.
That's big.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. From your mom.
That is good.
Naval artillery happens. My favorite kind of artillery. Why, I bet you don't even have a favorite kind of artillery. This knightly fella makes a brave stand, and is bailed out by his boss, Atomic Samurai. You've lost your arm. No, I haven't. It's right over there. Stepping up with them are Silver Fox and the player character from GTA 3. Also, Puri Puri Prisoner dishes out a savage pounding.
Oh my.
While everyone's panicking and arguing and flexing, Saitama is already on board and stomping ass through the alien crew. The tentacle monster that is the ship's equivalent of Will Riker is concerned. On the ground, these humans are putting up quite a fight. This guy decides to call for fire support by sending off a messenger head. Bat meet bat. The gang keeps slapping away, but the wounds keep healing. Perhaps a different approach would work better. Sure is fun though. GTA 3 guy notices this marble thing. Smashing it proves super effective. This just goes to show, if you can't solve a problem with violence, it means you aren't using enough violence. Saitama finds the control room and engages in a telekinetic battle of minds. A lot of stuff gets psychically thrown about, but for one day only, it's the tentacle monster who gets fucked. Additional pylons have been constructed. Bombardment's ready!
Alright, bye-bye problems.
Tornado tells them to stop littering, pick it up and take it home. Don't you know how damaging this shit is to the environment? Saitama Kool-Aids into the throne room, that every self-respecting baddie has in their spaceship. This is my good pal Boros, dominator of the universe. He explains how he roamed the void, owning all before him, until, like Alexander the Great, he wept, for he had nothing more to conquer. But it was prophesied that on one faraway world, he would find one last worthy foe. Saitama gives him a licking, but he keeps on ticking. Boros hulks up, busts out all the pyrotechnics.
You're tough. Cool.
Tornado does what tornadoes do. Pick a lot of shit up and chuck it around. This guy hits on the strategy of not giving a fuck and going all in on the attack. It could use some refinement. Boros gives a very satisfied victory speech. How cool his powers are, how hard he is, how inevitable his victory was. Wait, was? Saitama isn't actually done yet, you know. Not even worked up, really. Boros busts out a move I suppose you could call the Shipwrecker.
One of these days, Alice. Bang! Zoom! Straight to the moon.
Pro tip, if this happens to you, put that rock in your pocket before you boost back. Especially if you're a cash-strapped NEET. He probably just threw away around $1 million US. Whatever. That was still pretty cool. It's starting to get a little old now though, so Saitama slaps him into paste. But Boros heals even from that, and unleashes his final move. So Saitama uses his own ultimate power, hitting him like he means it. That's GGWP for Boros, so his ship won't not be falling out of the sky anymore. This would be pretty bad news for the city underneath if it hadn't already been killdozed several times over. Saitama recreates my favorite bit from Gears of War 2. Genos and Tornado are waiting for him. He tells Genos about the bitch-ass fight he just had. Tornado feels ignored and takes it poorly. Silver Fox tells her to let it go and move on. She does. And soon enough, so does everybody else. Move on to the next big scary monster, that is. Saitama kills it in one hit.
Come on. I'm back to one punch again? Damn it!
Well, on the bright side, the McRib is gonna be back for a while. And that's One Punch Man Season 1. What a banger! This was an extremely funny series. I dig the hell out of it. I want more! I'll definitely do Season 2 at some point. Subscribe so you don't miss it. A lot of other series are carried primarily by the force of personality of their main character, and or immediate secondary characters. One Punch Man is instead carried by its large cast of supporting scrubbers, many of whom appear for only a brief time before getting punched into gibs, but all of whom are gloriously, cartoonishly over the top and full of beans, and who deftly fit together to build a world that is an exquisite biting satire of some aspects of our own. For instance, the gamified cyberpunk dystopia we live in today is extended even to the realms of superheroes, who are ranked based not just on their accomplishments, but on how cool and or sexy the public thinks they are. And so, we see all the sorts of deeply cynical behavior you'd expect to see from real, mockable people. Social media clout chasing, hazing of new guys, some real drama llamas rising to the top. It's made quite clear that a lot of these guys are in the hero business for the sake of self-promotion, or hopping on the military-industrial complex grift train, or martial arts cred, or scoring some sweet, sweet booty. or any number of other reasons that leave actual big damn hero shit a distant second place at best. Saitama, by contrast, is in it, at least primarily, purely for the love of the game. Not wholly, I must stress, that's Genos' thing, after all, but it's certainly top of his list. It's easy to look at him and see a pure straight man foil for the rest of the lunacy happening around him. And it's true, much of his time on screen is just that. But there's an awful lot more going on inside that perfectly round head of his than one might initially expect. While he certainly isn't averse to wallowing in the public's adoration if given a chance, he will deliberately avoid the opportunity to do so if it means damaging the reputations of other heroes. Likewise, even though he is perfectly capable of beating anyone and anything that stands in his way into chunky salsa, he never does anything more to any human that opposes him than slap them around a bit and make them cry like a little bitch. He could use his power to simply take whatever he wants, to see all who resist him effortlessly driven before him. Instead, he reflects specifically on this when fighting the violently work-shy Hammerhead, noting that there, but for the grace of God, goes him. If he were to take that road, who could possibly stop him? Instead, he lives the life of a neat loser, purely out of an adamantine moral fortitude, arising from utterly superhuman willpower, and also a deep and abiding apathy. For instance, he clearly has no idea at all where all this power came from, and at no point does that particularly seem to bother him. A refreshing change indeed from the usual cape shit, where they can't help themselves but dig into the origins of everything. Saitama very much reads as a guy who is clean out of shits left to give. That can come across as baffling or even deliberately unpleasant to other characters. But when we see as much of it as we do, it reads more as a kind of psychological defense mechanism against a world that kinda sucks, and which he finds himself less and less invested in. A fair comparison would be Dr. Manhattan, though the blue guy does take it somewhat further. While Saitama isn't cursed by the knowledge that everything he's ever going to do is already irrevocably locked into the stream of time, he does end up hanging dong in public now and again. Though he rarely shows it, it's clear that Saitama is in fact quite sympathetic to his opponents, even the monsters. After he beats the snot out of Boros, he reflects on the dominator of the universe's motivations for coming here to pick a fight, which are more than a little similar to his own for taking up his hobby of heroing. And is like, I feel you, bro. I get it. I really do. As a series, I fucking love it. I love the gloriously bombastic fight scenes. I love the abundant shit-talking from the many colourful enemies, and how Saitama takes no guff from such swine. I love the real subtle little gags that work their way in there in between all that. It's all great. However, while watching it, I'm near constantly reminded of the time my little brother, who is much bigger than me, was really pissing me off. So I tried to beat him up, as brothers do, and not only failed to hurt him in the slightest, but blasted one of the bones in my right hand to dust. Therefore, in honor of the correct punching technique, I must award this series 2 knuckles out of 10. Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy this video? Then hit all the buttons. I assume some of them do fun things. What would you like to see next? Please leave me a comment. And with that, I'll see you next time.